Okay, let's look at a knife. So this is Poikilo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Poikilo blade. One of our guys, Matt, went to Blade Show West in Salt Lake City, and he encountered this brand, and he was intrigued. So got in touch with Andy, one of their guys, and said, hey, let's get these into the shop. So this is the PM2 we're going to unbox first. Take a look at this guy. Comes in a box. Comes with a little birth certificate card like everyone seems to nowadays, serial number 81. They tend to use the same packaging for their folders and their ballies, which is kind of nice for them. Nice for us as a retailer too. We don't have to worry about finding the exact box. Velcro patches on here. There's a neat story behind the Poikilo chameleon vibe on their website. Things that adapt to the environment. So this is again, the PM2 balisong. We're going to unwrap here. And the first thing you'll notice, where's the hardware? So that's the kind of the clean look that caught my eye to start with when I got the first pictures from Matthew, was that there's no hardware. Or if there is, it's hidden somewhere. So they do most of their retailing on Instagram right now. Not a website to really go to, not a lot of information. So you are going to discover how this works the same way we do. I did ask Andy, the principal at the company I've been talking to. He sent me a little video on how to take this apart. So we will get to that and we will discover how well that works. I will admit I did it one time, and we'll see how this goes. So for a quick point of comparison, because everybody's going to want to know how big this guy is. So there's your ruler from basically where the pivot would be from the very end point. Your blade. And let me point out, this is an unsharpened one. But man, is it still got a point on it. That could be interesting. Because everything in life is about comparison. This is a Machine-Wise Totori. This is the Penchetta Special Edition that just came out today for us. So there's a little pivot to blade comparison for length. And then we'll toss a Cerrone in here for another kind of pivot and blade. This is the Bally Reaper. And then the Machine-Wise Seraph that's been around for a good long time and is well known. A little longer in the handle here, a little longer in the blade, but narrower at the pivots and narrower at where the handles come together. And then good old squid crake raking. This is one that lots of people will have flipped, even if you haven't owned one. I'd be amazed if you haven't managed to own one. But it's one you've probably flipped from somebody else. So that again gives you some comparisons, because honestly the ruler only does so much. You kind of need to know how it's going to compare. Ooh, like the sound. So we can see the bushings that you're on there. This is, I believe, the Zerk model. Really nice kind of semi-matte finish there. All right, I know what you're waiting for, is how do we get this thing apart? And so I'm gonna start on the side that kind of keeps that pokey guy hidden away. So according to the video that I saw, there is a little lever in here that you need something. This is a tool that we happen to have around for doing I don't know what and where it came from. But there's a little bar, a little slot that goes into, and that you pry, and you can move this little bar out of the way that engages on the underside here. So this little guy gets moved, and then the next job, the next part is the one that feels a bit violent, but that's tapping straight down. The idea is you want to move this outer cover of our arm here out of the way. Don't like metal on metal contact, so I played around with the idea of a piece of wood. I have some 3D printed scraps from other projects that I'm going to put on just up here. Oh, did you see how that thing wants to pop? And then this little drift bar versus using a hammer. Let's see if that was enough. Nope, and you can see where if that's a live edge, you might want to put some tape or something over that. So, not quite enough to disengage. Might bring this guy up so I have a little better leverage. This is another 3D printed extra piece I had used before. You can see the notches where that's how much impact force it took. Maybe a piece of wood. Maybe I'll try that. Feels so violent. Okay, so the little lever has moved, so it tells me I'm probably, yeah, it's just, you can just see a little bit of difference right there. Again, if that's a live blade, I'd sure put some painter's tape or something over that, because otherwise life's going to get real interesting. Try. Maybe Poikilo will come out with some blocks or something to, or maybe they just figure don't service this. Still need to do a little bit more. Just feels so violent. Little clip is definitely moved out of the way. Here I'm hitting into a soft mouse pad, so I could be losing some energy here, but at least there's some distance. Let me try putting a hard surface down. Put one of our bally stands in here. Maybe I'm losing too much energy going against the soft mouse pad. That felt. Still not quite there. Okay. Oh, but I sure dented up our little bally stand. Okay. So lost some energy there. We'll just keep going against this thing. No. All right. What do I have that's little that gives us a little more resistance? Or we'll just go right against the hard table. Maybe I'm just getting too much cushion, or the wood is deflecting too much energy. It's on there. I'll give them credit for that. And okay, let me go back to the triangle that worked the first time. My little wedge I'd 3D printed for some other project. My little clip's still out of the way, so that should be okay. And wow. definitely an interesting process. Not something that you're gonna be doing real often. Yeah. Okay, maybe it wasn't all the way out the way I thought it was. That's not really a good way to do this. Oh, that could get exciting. So in the video I was sent, it was like a hard Delrin or plastic block that was used, so maybe I'm just not using anything hard enough here. Let me see what I can get. All right, so combination of making sure that little pin is out of the way and a harder side and just some force. This is a brass drift, so that feels sometimes better than a hammer. A little bit of debris. So now let's see if this guy's gone forward enough, because the video showed it just kind of popping off after this. There we go, a little pry, again, plastic will stick. All right, oh, still some manufacturing oil in there, so wasn't that it was dried and bite, but you can see there are some grooves for engagement. There's this piece and through there, so there's little slots. So there's a finite amount of movement that happens to make that guy come apart and go together. There's your pivot. There's your little springy guy that holds on. I'm not really sure if there's any, it didn't come with any extra hardware to make me think there's like an adjustability factor or ability to add weights, but I'm sure somebody's going to come along and do something cool with it. And then to reassemble, should be a matter of feeling this guy fit in on the slots. It actually slides. Oh, because I didn't have it all the way on. Okay. And come on, you know you want to. You think you want to. Okay, so that there. Again, you're higher here, so it should be a matter of being able to then get that guy to go down until the clip is all the way in. And sighting. Ooh, that's nice. So none of that changed. Of course, I didn't adjust the pivots. A little sound check for everybody. So there you go, the PM2. Our first time knocking it apart. Well, second time knocking it apart, but the first time for you guys. I gotta say, that was harder than I thought, and I'm glad it's not something that I'd have to do very often. Enjoy!